The woman's tears fell silently onto the polished airport floor as she clutched her phone, the screen still displaying the text that had shattered her world. Across from her, Michael Bennett watched, his own troubles momentarily forgotten. He'd never imagined that offering a tissue and a kind word to this stranger would change both their lives forever, or that the elegant woman in the crumpled designer suit was actually Eliza Winters, the notoriously private CEO of Winter Technologies, whose net worth exceeded billions. If you've ever believed that kindness can transform lives in unexpected ways, this story will touch your heart. Like and subscribe to see more incredible true stories of human connection that remind us how a single moment of compassion can alter destinies. Michael shifted uncomfortably in the hard plastic chair, checking his watch for the fifth time in as many minutes. His flight had been delayed another 2 hours, which meant he'd missed tucking in his 7-year-old daughter, Emma. The babysitter would charge extra, money he didn't have to spare since losing his job at the architectural firm 3 months ago. Single parenthood was a constant balancing act, and today, the scales were tipping against him. He was so absorbed in calculating how many more freelance drafting jobs he'd need to cover next month's rent that he almost missed the sound, a soft, stifled sob from across the waiting area. Looking up, he noticed a woman about his age trying desperately to compose herself, one hand pressed against her mouth while the other gripped her phone like a lifeline. Something about her quiet dignity in distress struck him. Before he could second-guess himself, Michael grabbed the packet of tissues he kept for Emma's frequent colds and crossed the aisle. "Excuse me," he said gently. "I thought you might need these." The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were red-rimmed but striking, a deep, intelligent blue that seemed to assess him in an instant. She hesitated before accepting the tissues. "Thank you," she said, her voice surprisingly steady despite the tears. "That's very kind." Michael should have returned to his seat then, social obligation fulfilled. Instead, he heard himself asking, "Would you like some company?" Sometimes it helps not to be alone when things are rough. A flicker of surprise crossed her face, followed by the smallest nod. "Actually, yes. If you don't mind." He sat beside her, maintaining a respectful distance. "I'm Michael." "Eliza," she replied simply, offering no last name. They sat in companionable silence for a few minutes before Eliza spoke again. "My father died this morning." The words came out flat, as if she were still processing their reality. "We weren't close. Hadn't spoken in years, actually. But now..." She trailed off, twisting the tissue between her fingers. "Now you'll never have the chance to change that," Michael finished quietly. She looked at him with surprise. "Yes. Exactly." Michael nodded, understanding all too well. "After my wife died, I found a letter she'd written me that I was never supposed to see. Things she wished she'd said. It's the not knowing if they knew how you felt that haunts you." Eliza's professional composure cracked slightly. "He was so disappointed in me. In my choices. The company was everything to him, and she stopped abruptly, seeming to remember she was speaking to a stranger. "I'm sorry," Michael said, filling the silence. "Loss is complicated enough without regrets mixed in." "What about you?" she asked, clearly wanting to shift the focus. "Why are you stuck in this airport purgatory today?" Michael smiled ruefully. "Job interview in Chicago. I'm an architect, or was, until my firm downsized. It's just me and my daughter Emma now, so I can't afford to be picky about opportunities." "How old is your daughter?" 7 going on 17, Michael laughed, pulling out his phone to show Eliza a photo of Emma missing her front teeth and grinning widely. "Smart as a whip and twice as sharp. She's with a sitter now, probably negotiating a later bedtime as we speak." Something in Eliza's expression softened as she looked at Emma's picture. "She has your smile. And her mother's determination," Michael added. "After Sarah died, Emma was the one who kept me going. Kids are resilient that way." Their conversation flowed surprisingly easily after that. Michael told her about his struggles finding work that would allow him to be present for Emma. Eliza shared vague details about her family business and the pressure she felt to live up to expectations. Neither asked probing questions, respecting the temporary nature of their connection. When their flights were finally called, hers before his, Eliza hesitated before standing. "Thank you, Michael," she said with unexpected warmth. "You've reminded me of something important today." "What's that?" "That sometimes the people who understand us best are the ones we've just met." She handed him a business card. "If you're ever looking for a change, call this number." Michael glanced at the card, plain white with just a phone number, no name or company. Before he could ask more, she was gone, disappearing into the crowd of boarding passengers. 2 weeks later, Michael was packing up their small apartment, having failed to make rent again. The Chicago interview had gone nowhere, and his freelance work had dried up. He'd been calling every contact in his network when his phone rang with an unknown number. "Is this Michael Bennett?" a crisp, professional voice asked. "Yes, speaking." "Please hold for Eliza Winters." Michael froze. Winters. As in Winter Technologies, the architectural software company that had revolutionized sustainable building design? Before he could process this, a familiar voice came on the line. "Michael. I hope you don't mind that I looked you up after our meeting." "Eliza," he managed, still confused. "I don't understand." "I saw your portfolio online. Your sustainable housing designs are exactly what my company's foundation has been looking for. I'd like to offer you a position heading our new affordable housing initiative." Michael sank into a chair, stunned. "I don't, you're Eliza Winters?" "The Eliza Winters?" He could hear the smile in her voice. "The woman crying in the airport, yes. The CEO part is just my job." "Why me?" he asked, still disbelieving. "Because you saw me as a person, not a position or a bank account. And because your designs show that same humanity. You understand that architecture isn't just about buildings, it's about the people who live in them." 6 months later, Michael and Emma had moved to a comfortable home near his new office at the Winter Foundation. His team was developing affordable, sustainable housing that would change thousands of lives. Emma was thriving in her new school, and Michael had found purpose in his work again. Eliza had become a regular visitor to their home, dropping by for Emma's soccer games and the occasional dinner. After one such evening, as they sat on his porch watching Emma chase fireflies in the yard, Eliza confessed the full story. "My father built Winter Technologies from nothing, but he cared more about profit than people. When I took over, I wanted to change that, to use our resources to solve real problems. He called me naive, said I'd destroy his legacy." She looked out at Emma, her expression softening. "The day I met you was the day I learned he'd died still believing I'd ruined everything he built." Michael covered her hand with his. "And now? Now I know he was wrong. Meeting you reminded me why I fought him so hard. Real legacy isn't about money or power, it's about the lives we touch." She smiled as Emma ran up to show them a captured firefly. "Some of the board still thinks I'm crazy for investing so much in the foundation, but they can't argue with the results." As Emma released the firefly and watched it soar away, Michael realized how much had changed because of a simple act of kindness in an airport. A billionaire CEO had found healing for her family wounds. A struggling single dad had found security and purpose. And together, they were building something neither could have created alone. Sometimes the most important connections in our lives come when we're at our most vulnerable, when we're brave enough to offer kindness without expectation, or humble enough to accept it when we need it most. In those moments of genuine human connection, the labels we carry, single dad, CEO, stranger, fall away, revealing the truth that binds us all. We're simply people trying to find our way through life's challenges, one act of compassion at a time.